welcome to Southern Country. Hi, I'm Herb Southern. I'm very happy to say I have two of the most talented ladies in country music of today. Two of the Mandrell sisters are here, Louise and Irlene. Let's open the show and we'll talk to Louise. Louise Mandrell. I always enjoyed reading the first paragraph. Louise Mandrell's talent, personality, and boundless energy has already won her a legion of fans, unparalleled reviews, a string of hit records, best-selling book, numerous commercial endorsements, a spectacular stage show called Love My Country, which she wrote, produced, and performed in Opryland Acuff Theater, and her own nationally syndicated television special. By any standard, Louise Mandrell is one of the hottest tickets of the entertainment set. Is all that's true?
Sounds like I wrote it.
Self-written, huh? Let's talk about 1991, the season of sold-out performances at Opryland's Roy Acuff Theater. Fantastic show, I was told.
Well, you should have seen it. We enjoyed sharing it with folks. That was a tribute to the U.S. and her many styles of music, and gave us an opportunity to do a patriotic salute and different things. Of course, it gave me an opportunity to perform with a great many dancers and singers, and it was a lot of fun. It's nice anytime someone gives you an opportunity to write something, and then all the things that go with it.
You proved yourself to be a total entertainer instead of just a singer, songwriter, you know.
Well, I really enjoy entertaining, and I think entertainer covers a lot of different areas. I just happen to enjoy the dancing and the singing and being a musician.
Were you always a dancer?
No, we started dancing the first week of our television series, the Barbara Mandrell, the Mandrell Sisters.
Well, that goes back a few days.
Don't point that out, thank you so much.
The show had a few old familiar songs in it, as well as a new song called John Paul.
I'm doing John Paul in my roadshow also. It's a wonderful Cajun tune, and my lead dancer, Pedro Tomas, has starred in that, and he is also the newest addition to Hee Haw, yes.
I heard that.
And we're really proud of him and excited for him.
Audience participation in all your shows, road shows, and the one in Acuff Theater?
Yes, everywhere I go, I'd like an audience to have an opportunity to participate. In our Christmas show, however, Irlene is the one that gets to have that fun and that honor to bring someone on the stage and let them perform. And it's not something I give to someone easily, but she is my little sister. I believe an audience wants to have a good time. I'm not the type that does a lot of clap-along type songs where, okay, everybody clap. If they want to sit there and do nothing, that's what I want them to do. I mean, they're my boss. They don't work for me. But I also want to give them a chance if they want, I dance with someone in the audience or bring someone on stage and do a number with them and things. I want them also to have an opportunity to perform and do something they never get to do, normally.
When you're on the road, what one thing do they ask for you to do, the audience? What's the one thing they requested most? Fiddle playing?
The Orange Blossom Special, which I do sometimes as an encore, but it's like there's a few things in my show that I try to take out, and if I do, they just have a fit. And even in our Christmas show, we do a 50s with a lot of Christmas 50s music in it, because every time we pull it out, my fan club members have a fit. So you do get people's favorite things, and it's hard to take it away. How
often do you change your road show?
Usually once a year, sometimes every 2 years, but normally once a year. And sometimes someone will come back, and a fan club member, it'll only be 6 months, and there'll be a lot of changes. It's according to what's working and what we can sneak out, because we get bored, but the fans want to see a lot of the same things.
How can one person play bass, fiddle, piano, banjo, synthesizer, guitar, accordion, drums, upright bass, mandolin, clarinet, auto harp? What's a walking piano?
That's a piano we saw in the movie Big. It's 16 foot long. You play it with your feet. And it is so much fun. I'll have it with me in Branson. It is really quite unique, but it is an instrument, and it's kind of difficult to play. But my father owned a music store, the answer to your question, and if we wanted to play something, we just took it home.
That's exactly right. You have another video, we're going to run out of time here, but you have another video going back to 1985.
Oh no, what is it?
Let me find it, Herb. It's one of those...
We'll both see together.
I think we're going to... While I'm looking for it, tell us about Louise Mandrell's Diamonds, Gold, and Platinum, your fantastic television show, while I look for this.
Yeah, well, after our television series, I had an opportunity to do a television special, and of course my sisters were guests in it, along with many others, and it was a tribute to different styles of music in different periods of time, from 40s to modern day, and that was just before I opened in Vegas with Tony Orlando, and Tony Orlando was also one of my guests. I think one of my favorite things I ever did was a practical joke on Tony Orlando in Vegas. Okay. We taped our show, and on April Fool's, we played it in the monitor, so when he came in, he didn't realize that what he was hearing was not live. And we had a 30-second changeover from my show to, you know, our shows, from my show to his. And he's in his dressing room, and all of a sudden, the show ends 20 minutes early. Of course, he went running down to the stage, and his band throwing on clothes and running down the stairs to get to the stage to find out, of course, that it's not time for him to be on. But after I came off, he started bowing. He said, "I'll leave you alone. I'll never do anything. You win. No more."
Some girls have all the luck. Remember that one going back to 1985? There was a video out on that.
Yes, I remember that. My sister, it was a video where it showed my sister Barbara bringing home Nathan from the hospital, and Irlene, who was expecting her little boy, Derek, who was just a few months younger than Nathan. And Derek was born on Christmas Day, which is the same as Barbara's birthday. Our Christmas holidays, we do a great deal of celebrating. It's
been a pleasure. I'd like to chat with you about your best-selling book, but we'll catch that on another time around, okay?
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I'm very happy to say I have one of the Mandrell sisters. I have Irlene with me today.
Hi, Herb.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
With a flair for comedy and the poised beauty of a high-fashion model, combined with your musical background, like Barbara and Louise, you have that special Mandrell magic. What's Mandrell magic?
Thank you. Well, I won't talk about Mandrell magic as far as I'm concerned. I've seen, my sisters are just amazing to me. They're very talented, very beautiful, but very caring, wonderful people on the inside. My two very best friends are my sisters. And that's what's been so special this last month, as I've been on the road with Louise, doing this holiday special, and we get to work together. But it's just, it's something inside, and I also think it has to do with being Christians. Of course, that limit, it's not because of being Mandrells, but it's a love.
What does the Mandrell magic have to do with the entertainment aspect of it?
Well, I didn't say Mandrell magic, so those aren't my words, but when I watch Barbara and Louise, well, someone else wrote that, I didn't write it, but when I watch Barbara and Louise, I know of no other entertainers that are as entertaining to watch. I'm not just saying that because they're my sisters, but when you see their show, you'll definitely be entertained.
I think the world is well aware of Mandrell magic because they're just exceptional. Have you ever had an identity crisis being the, quote, little sister?
No, you know, it's really unique, I guess, because a lot of sisters maybe are too close, the same, that they feel they're in competition with each other. The three of us, and Barbara put it on her book, it was very neat when it was dedicated, and talking about Louise and I, being the perfect triangle, because we're all just different enough to fill in for each other and make like the perfect triangle, because I'm not anything like Louise and Barbara. Louise is different, Barbara's different. Being the youngest, I guess sometimes more carefree. Mom said my first words were gitsy gitsy goo, you know. Where Barbara was so organized from day one, you know, and Louise just kind of splits that up.
How about that? Yeah, Louise, all three of you are so talented, unbelievable. You were in modeling for a while with a national campaign. What's that all about?
Well, I started playing drums on the road when I was 12, okay? So it was fun, I loved it. I always wanted to be a great drummer. That's really, I didn't want to front the band, I didn't want to sing. And then one day when I was playing drums, the old Bill Anderson show, which dates this on me, but the art director was a photographer and deciding to get into full-time photography, which he has done very well and successfully in Nashville, Dennis Carney. But he came up to me and asked me if I would start modeling for him. And I was still playing at the time, but he kept encouraging me to do modeling, which was really hard to do and be on the road as many days as we were. So he shot a composite, and I took it around, and I started getting enough work that I wanted to get off the road and start concentrating on that. Which later what happened was then I got some commercials, decided I wanted a little more talking and enjoyed that. So I looked around, and Nashville did not have a modeling school, I mean an acting school at the time.
That's right.
And I found this one, by word of mouth, this one lady that was coming from New York who was a wonderful teacher. And I was able to take her class. It was a little class, who now it's like the acting studio. It's huge. It's
in Nashville?
Ruth Sweet, and she leads over all of it. And I took one summer class and thought, well, I'll continue this. Before I got a chance, our show happened. I had no idea it was going to happen, and went out to California. So I stayed out there a few years after our show just to study out in LA.
Well, you want to get into serious acting.
I do. The holdup, actually, though, is that I'd be willing to move out to California if the job was happening. I have 2 kids, and my husband works in Nashville. It's really hard to just take up and leave just to go out and read for things. So it's been kind of difficult in that aspect.
Yeah, but personal appearances. You have a golf tournament, the Minnie Pearl Cancer Foundation. You make all these places. You make personal appearances. Not
consistently. Things I have done. I like to do a lot for actually any kind of benefit, if at all possible.
Okay.
I don't really have. I can't really say I have a favorite, because every time you see someone in need, and it's truth, your heart pours out to them, and that's who you want to help at the time.
How about the Irlene Mandrell Invitational Polo?
That's about my favorite thing. About 2 years ago, for a benefit, someone called and asked me if I wanted to play polo. And that there was a teacher that was a world-renowned teacher, that was going to teach. And I said, this is a once-in-a-chance, once-in-a-lifetime chance. So I said, say yes, even though I love to ride. I've never played polo, and I don't actually ride that well. And the last couple years it's been since we've been doing it. I've been concentrating on it, and I've improved a lot.
Have you gotten good at playing polo?
Pretty good.
Is it as dangerous as they say?
The better you get, the more dangerous it is.
More competitive, I guess.
Yes. They'll put you in a different game entirely. There's one called Celebrity, and that one is not near as dangerous. And then they get the real polo out there. You see, it's a totally new game.
The real polo is pretty dangerous, I hear.
It can be very dangerous.
Those horses move across that field.
There's certain rules that, just like any game, protect you, but you get certain people that aren't as aware they're playing in the aggressive one. Like, I think horses aren't supposed to stop when they're hitting, because the horse behind them will run into them, and that's what makes them, if someone doesn't know that and they stop, or if there's fouls and things that can cause you to get in trouble.
Is it hard to hit the ball at a 40-mile run on the horse? Just that the horse is going 40 miles an hour?
Well, I was cantering and hitting. I finally got to that. It wouldn't go as far. It's just like, I don't know if you play golf, but the hardest thing is to not hit it hard. The softer the more laid back you are, the farther the ball goes. You want to kill it every time, and it doesn't go anywhere.
You have control when you're riding?
Yes.
I watched them, but I can never imagine myself being out there.
You have to have total control, yes.
You have a lot of charities you work for, such as the Easter Seal, Cancer Society, Ronald McDonald, Special Olympics, American Heart Association.
Ronald McDonald, the one that we just did, I co-hosted. Because it just opened new. I have done different Ronald McDonalds and things, but we had a new one open in Nashville, and I'm really proud of that. I think it does a lot of good. But yes, there's just a lot of great charities.
Did you co-host the Battle of the Bands with the late Sammy Davis?
Yes, and I'll tell you, you know what happened?
What happened?
He was a wonderful man. He'd been ill right before that. I guess he got better, but he came to my room, and I had my little boy. I didn't have my daughter yet. My little boy was like maybe 11 months old or something. And I wanted to ask him to take a picture, but I found out he didn't feel good, so I wasn't going to ask him. And someone must have told him. He came over, and he picked up Derek, and he said, take our picture together, and it was just wonderful. He's a wonderful man. He was.
What's this custom jewelry now? The Irlene Mandrell collection?
Well, I think it's wonderful. There's
Do I see anything here?
Not on stage. You know, on stage, it's funny, we do a lot of dancing, and even with all the rhinestones and stuff, we do not wear jewelry on stage. Well, earrings. But we don't, like on the, we have cut each other. We have to be careful. But they're semi-precious jewels, and so they're affordable for people, but yet it's not really costume, and I've had American designers design them, and we really haven't gotten it going yet. It's kind of still in the making, but it's a great line. There's also gift wear and a lot of unique things.
Where do you plan to market this?
The United States to start with, all over, like on a 1-800 number type of thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you have to call. You can't. It's not going to be in stores.
Not to start with.
Not to start with. Okay, because it should be interesting. Where did you get your start on this in show business? We're going back to 1966. 67?
Well, actually, I wasn't playing I was not playing music in that. Did it say I was?
No, it said you were left behind. For
Yeah,
the
okay.
thing.
Because I was going to say I was a little young to be playing, but Barbara, way before that, actually, that was when the family went to the Orient.
Exactly.
My dad had a band called the Mandrell Family Band, but Louise and I were not in it. My mom played bass, Dad played, Barbara played, well, a lot of steel guitar, you know, and so they didn't have to hire a steel player. They hired a drummer and a lead player, which Barbara later married the drummer.
Okay.
And he became a Navy pilot,
yes,
you know, okay.
I read that.
But actually, she actually started way before that when she was 12. She was a lot older, and you know, well, not a lot older. She was like, let me tell you, she was Miss Oceanside in 65. So in 66, they went in the Orient when Vietnam was going on,
Sure,
67.
sure.
And Louise came to me and said, you know, if we want to play, if we want to be with the family, we are going to have to learn an instrument. And I said, Barbara had decided to retire because she had married Ken. He had played drums, but he was going to be, he had joined the Navy as a pilot, and Barbara wanted to be a Navy wife. And she just wanted to take care of Ken. Well, Louise decided that this would never last, that we should be working on our instruments.
Yeah. Before that, you never played instruments?
No, just I played around on some, but not seriously. Decided to take one.
So your father had a music store?
Well, he did, and Barbara would go over there and demonstrate any instrument he asked.
That's
you know, if anything he wanted to show to someone, he'd just ask her to play. But at that point, Louise and I hadn't played.
Right.
Louise had played some violin, I guess you would call it, now it's fiddle, but violin in school, in grade school,
Right.
though. They had just started offering it in grade
Right.
school. But she was right. We moved to Tennessee then,
Right.
from Southern California. Barbara went to Washington State with Ken, and Dad had a brother there, and he decided to build houses and sell the houses and get in construction. So when Ken went overseas, not long after that, Barbara came to stay with us, and Barbara and Dad made a trip to Nashville to see the Opry. And Barbara was sitting in the audience and said, I don't belong in the audience. I should be up there. She couldn't stand it. So they made a deal where Dad would manage Barbara.
Sure.
So she worked on the road a little bit where you just, as a single, where you just kind of use the house bands.
Sure.
And sometimes that didn't work out real well.
No, it didn't. No.
Sometimes it's great, you know, sometimes they're wonderful, but sometimes it doesn't. So she came to Louise and I and said, if you guys work real hard with me, I'll take you on the road. And I started on the road when I was 12.
And you became part of the Jew-Rights.
I was the original do-right, yes sir.
You traveled how many miles by the time you were 16? What, 500,000 miles? Or
I don't know. I know I've been in every state except Alaska.
Wow.
I still haven't been in Alaska.
What happened?
Louise has, but I haven't.
What happened to the education? These normal people
Tutored.
tutored on the road?
There was, we at first wanted to, and could, because there wasn't that many dates for Barbara, get our work and take our work and make it up in school. But the school had this thing where if you missed so many dates, even if you were doing really great, and, you know, you missed so many dates, you can't pass.
No.
So we had to work out a tutor and do it that way.
On the road tutor. That was pretty good. It's hard to believe that. Now, you went to Europe, too, with the band.
Well, first trip overseas for me, and I think that was still when I was 12 or 13. It was right away. And played a lot of military.
I was going to add, now the military is very close to you people.
Yes.
Well,
because when they went overseas, that was military. We also lived near Camp Pendleton.
Yes.
And I know Louise and I stayed at home, except sometimes on the Sundays, where the base was family, so we could go, you know, around and see the servicemen and their kids.
Let's talk about the TV show, going back to the Barbara Mandrell and Sisters TV show. That was what, after 2 years? 2 years?
I know, it was 2 seasons.
2 seasons, and it's on reruns now on TNN. And that really gave you national exposure.
Yes, it was very scary the first few shows, because people started saying you've got 40,000 people, or what, you know, and it's hard to grasp.
Staggering.
And that was 10 years ago or so. So, you know, I'm sure it's
been a pleasure.
Thank you. Me too.
I appreciate having you on the show.
Thanks.
This is Herb Sudson. Until next time, keep smiling, keep it Sudson Country.